Scenes on social media echoed on state media. 400 buses carrying 9,000 people to isolation zones in the last days. As frustrated as you'd imagine. There's no food, this man says. I have kids, there are old people. Why don't we isolate in our homes?
Nah.
Sequestered in gyms for 2 weeks, not infected, just those who live in what's classified as a high-risk part of Hangzhou, a city of 12 million people with roughly 100 active cases. The heaviest of hands crushing the virus's spread immediately. How far does that go? Listen to a Beijinger who told our colleague working outside the closed Olympic loop that he's just been released from quarantine.
Because my wife and the first person infected with Omicron in Beijing worked in the same building, I was isolated at home for 14 days. It's very uncomfortable. It's a nasal swab test and an anal swab test every 2 days. It's very uncomfortable.
You heard him, anal swabbing, thought to be more accurate at spotting COVID. This is all perhaps shocking to an outsider, but Canadian Jonathan Chang, the China bureau chief of the Wall Street Journal, explains China's leadership sees no other way.
They'll say, okay, you talk about freedom in the West. In China, we emphasize life and we emphasize protecting our people. And freedom has gotten you how many hundreds of thousands, how many millions dead, how many millions sick. Here in China, what we're doing is the responsible thing.
And so pop up mass testing and electronic tracking. Show a health code app to do everything. Get a cab, go to a restaurant. It flashes green, and people like 22-year-old bartender Luo Guanlong can proceed. And much of China does just carry on. That's a good thing, he says, but doesn't mean there aren't costs.
Many people who are away from home can't get back. There are some local governments that might arbitrarily impose quarantine policies, hard and fast.
If you're Xi Jinping, you look at this and you say, well, we can't relent, we can't give up like the other countries. There were other zero COVID countries in this part of the world. Many of them have given up, and many of them have now seen cases break out there as well.
The era of Omicron may be changing the COVID story around the world, but China's not budging, throwing everything it has at being right. The costs of being wrong, too high to consider.